IVC, Dale Gatefold 33 here to do a thread response video. Glen Kellaway did a video a couple of days ago, about artists and their best 3 albums in a row, and he covered the heavy hitters, shall we say, all the big artists. So I'm not going to cover them as such, although I may revisit one of the artists that Glen mentioned. So, and Glen mentioned in his, he struggled with the Rolling Stones, where there was a 4 album gap, bookended by his favourite 2 albums, and he had to make a decision which one would get lost off of that end, so he could show the 3. And so what I've done is I've done five artists that I don't think, more modern artists that maybe others might not show, and they were relatively straightforward. And then I've done 5 artists where I had a similar conundrum to Glen. I had to leave something out because either there was a weak album in the middle of a run of strong albums, and I had to kind of compromise somehow. So let's get started with the relatively straightforward. And I've been really lazy. I'm not taking these out of the sleeves, so apologies if I have a glare. So the first artist I'm going to cover is Belle and Sebastian. So a Scottish indie folk group, and I think their first 3 albums are their strongest. So that was relatively straightforward. So there is Tiger Milk, If You're Feeling Sinister, and then my favourite, The Boy with the Arab Strap. So that is what I'm going to do here. I've got put my bonus there. I'll put these down here. So that's my first artist. Next up was The Cure, and this was a bit of a struggle. I had two ways I could have gone with The Cure. I could have gone more sort of their later stuff or their very early stuff. I've decided to go their very early stuff in the end, and I've gone with 17 Seconds, Faith, and then this is a bit of a compromise, Pornography. So say if I'd gone later, I would have had Disintegration, The Wish, and I had to compromise on and this was less of a compromise than going the other way, if that makes sense. Then I've gone with Depeche Mode. This is very straightforward for me. So it's Music for the Masses, Violator, and Songs of Faith and Devotion. I think that's a great run of albums. Next, I've only got 3 albums by this artist, and I think I need to get them in. I'm not sure I'm going to get them in chronological order here. I think it's that way around, but I might have got them. So this is the Gobetweens, and I've gone for Tallulah, Liberty Bell and the Black Diamond Express, and then finally my favourite, 16 Lovers Lane by the Gobetweens. So that's their kind of Australian jangly, well, they were originally Australian, but I think they recorded in the UK, jangle pop sort of indie band from the 80s. And then finally, in this kind of first section of relatively straightforward, I've gone for Sigur Ros, a band I've showed a number of times. So I've gone for this one I can't pronounce, Agatis Bergin or something like that. This one that doesn't have a title, just called Brackets. And then this one that I don't have on vinyl, Tack. I think that's a great run of 3 albums. So that's the relatively straightforward. Now let's deal with the harder choices. So my favourite female artist, if not my favourite artist, but certainly my favourite female artist is Kate Bush. And no-brainers for me were these two, The Dreaming followed by Hounds of Love. These are, you know, I kind of alternate between these two about which one is my favourite Kate Bush album. So they go together. So the question was, did I go later or earlier? And I decided to go earlier with Never Forever, rather than go later and The Sensual World. So 3 fantastic Kate Bush albums. Okay, artist I had a lot of trouble with. I had 3 album runs that I could have gone with on this artist, and I decided to go for the more varied. So the artist is David Bowie. So and my 2 favourite David Bowie albums are I've got quite a lot of albums in between them, so I couldn't pick them. So it's probably Hunky Dory and Station to Station. So I had to pick a run around either one of those. And I decided against Hunky Dory, which would have been probably Hunky Dory, Ziggy Stardust, Aladdin Sane, because I thought they were all similar-ish in terms of, whereas if I wanted to get Station to Station in, I could be quite varied. So I could put in Young Americans, Station to Station, and Low, and I think that's quite a varied run of albums. So that's what I chose to do. Another one that gave me difficulty was Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. So my favourite album by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds is this one, No More Shall We Part. And my second one is probably the Lyre of Orpheus album. What's it called? That one there. Abattoir Blues, Lyre of Orpheus. So again, there were too many in between. So what I've ended up doing, obviously, because I've got these in my hand, you've probably guessed, is I've ended up bookending that album. So I've gone with Murder Ballads, which was to say the one that crept in because of that raw No More Shall We Part, and then the Boatman's Call. So 3 very strong albums. Okay, next artist. So this artist I think's done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that had a absolute storming run of 6 albums, and I had to pick 3 from that 6. So the artist is the Kinks. So I think from Face to Face through to Muswell Hillbillies is a fantastic run. So I had to pick 3 consecutive albums within that run. And so where I've gone is the Kinks are the Village Green Preservation Society. I've gone with Arthur, or the Decline and Fall of the British Empire, and I've gone with Power Man, or Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round. I basically picked the ones that are the longest titles. No. These are the ones that I think I would choose to play the most. So that's the Kinks, and then finally, probably what is my favourite artist, Pink Floyd, and that is quite tough. It's tough to find. Well, there is an obvious run of albums, and you know, particularly if you include soundtrack albums, then it becomes a bit harder. So there's an obvious run of albums, probably from Medal through to The Wall, and then it's kind of, where do you go there? And The Wall is where it all started with me. So that's kind of what made my mind up, is I wanted to include The Wall. So you have to work back from The Wall. So working back from The Wall, so there is The Wall, Animals, and Wish You Were Here. So that's kind of how I made my mind up, which means Dark Side of the Moon doesn't make it, nor does Medal, which yeah, so I probably would have been erring towards their debut album Medal and The Wall or Animals as kind of, but that's kind of big stretch. So that's it. I've just got a bonus. So so Glenn did Bob Dylan, and I think, you know, Glenn picked the kind of trilogy up to Blonde on Blonde, that I think, you know, made the right choice. But I do think there is an alternative, because I do like later period Bob Dylan. So I think there is an argument for Love and Theft, Time Out of Mind, and Modern Times. Maybe Modern Times got less of a claim, but I think there's a really strong period of Bob Dylan. So I just thought I'd throw that in as a bonus 11th choice. So yeah, thanks for the idea, Glenn. That's had me racking my brains for a day or so, which is always good. So yeah, cheers, bye.